one of my favorite parts from the book Troubled was when you were talking about how there was the void of real life male role models, and you start finding these people, whether they are movie stars, or I think Jackie Chan was one of them that you mentioned. Not Jackie Chan, sorry. Bruce Lee. It's not my wheelhouse, unfortunately. And you're getting these books and you're starting to learn about them. Do you think that today, do you see any kind of male role models in just popular culture and media?
I remember I posted on Twitter a couple of years ago, like, who is an acceptable role model for young men? Just simple question. And I got so many different answers. No one seems to converge on any particular individual because, I think the cultural status of masculinity and manhood is, it's up for debate now, and it's endlessly questioned or mocked or ridiculed, deconstructed. So, I think today, the closest person might be like The Rock, but he doesn't have the same kind of cultural cachet as an action star from 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And some of the names you'd mentioned before, someone like Jordan Peterson, well, I think like half of the people would say, he's a great role model, and then the other half of the population would be horrified by that. Although actually, I don't think it's probably that extreme. I think it's probably closer to something like 70-30. But his detractors just make themselves known, very loud, vocal people. And with Huberman too. So I can't really think of someone that if you ask, I don't know, you poll 100 different young guys, I think you would get a lot of different answers. Whereas in the past, you might get, very, a handful of people that the culture kind of agrees that this is someone that you should be looking up to, someone who embodies kind of classic masculine virtues, of strength and assertiveness and formidability, but also sort of restraint and respect and ambition. And is there any, has anyone come to mind for you?
I think about this a lot, obviously, because I spend a lot of time referencing figures from the past, whether that's Sean Connery, whether that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. But there are people that remind me of that, and I think that are genuinely good role models. I think Henry Cavill would be one of those people. Okay. But I think that maybe what's happening here isn't that the male role models in movies and film and real life, it's not that they aren't as strong. I think it's just that maybe those art forms don't have as much sway on popular culture as much as they did. Like when a big movie came out in the 80s, pretty much every adolescent boy was going to watch the big action movie that came out that year. Whereas now, how many teenage boys are even going to the cinema? Not really, and if a movie comes out on Netflix or a streaming service, I'm sure you're going to have to contend with this. If people don't like it within the first 2 minutes, they turn it off and they go and find on TikTok, they go and find a short or a reel that they can interact with. So maybe the emergence of people like Peterson, another more controversial one would be Tate. That's probably been a big influence, especially on younger men. I think that they are, whether we like it or not, they are the new action heroes. They are the new superstars.
I thought of Andrew Tate more as, he's more reviled, but at least like the position he holds in the culture to me reminds me of something like 25 years ago of like hip hop artists, where they may have some involvement with crime, and then they turn it into content and art form. So for rappers, it was music and music videos and sort of glorifying this kind of criminal underworld lifestyle for entertainment. And maybe they took like an element of truth but exaggerated it and caricatured it for entertainment value. And I thought, at least the early days of Andrew Tate, when he became big a few years ago, he was kind of doing the same thing of, this louder than life, ostentatious, like lots of women, fast cars, make money. And it was kind of the same thing of like the rapper from some years ago, because I remember as a kid parents freaking out about, I don't know, 50 Cent or Eminem or Dr. Dre or whoever, of like, oh my God, they're teaching our kids bad values. These boys are looking up to these men who, you know, mistreat women and only care about money. And that's kind of, that was Tate's thing. But it's different because I think the artists back in the day would acknowledge in interviews, like, yeah, it's true, but kind of not. I'm doing this because it sells and because it's interesting and entertaining. And, you know, the most important thing is to be entertaining if you're an artist. And when Andrew Tate, like, I've listened to clips of him on interviews, and he says, no, this is my life. Like, this is who I am. Like, you know, I'm 100% real, authentic, everything. And so there's no kind of boundary between the entertainer and the real person. And I think that's what freaked a lot of people out. But in a weird way, it probably made him more authentic to young boys, and maybe why they're drawn to him. But I don't even think maybe for a moment he had that kind of cultural sort of penetration to so many young guys. Everyone was talking about him for a while, and then he kind of fell off very quickly. So, you know, maybe that just speaks to the turnover in the social media era.
Yeah, that's true. If you're enjoying this podcast, you will love the Gentleman's Digest. This is our weekly newsletter sent straight to your inbox, packed with insights and recommendations. You'll find the link to become a reader in the description.